Welcome to another real estate photography tutorial, guys. I am just leaving a listing and I want to show you a technique that I've been showing in other tutorials, but really going above and beyond. And I like to call this shooting in all four corners. So we're going to use one speed light, the Godox V1, and we're going to pop a flash in all four corners on top of popping a flash above the camera using luminosity mode for that ambient layer. I'm going to show you how to get a really nice, clean, crisp image. So let's go. All right, here we are in Lightroom, and this is what I'm going to show you guys on how to pop your flashes, where to pop your flashes to get nice, even lighting with your flash layers. And then we're just going to be using the ambient layer just to blend it back in to make it look more natural. So here we are looking at the ambient layer. And so what I did was I just dropped the highlights a little bit, bumped those shadows, changed my profile to standard, and I believe that was it. I don't do a whole lot. Profile correction, you want to make sure you're enabling profile corrections. So on this particular shoot, I was using my Olympus EM1 Mark II, which is a Micro Four Thirds camera, and I was using the 9 to 18 f4 to 5.6, and I was at f4. So full frame equivalent, I'm shooting at 18 millimeters because I just left it at 9 millimeters, focused on it, and just left it there. And I was at f4, which is equivalent of f8 on a full frame. So all I did was just copy and paste those settings into each one of these. So this is the flash pop above the camera. Now the reason why I like to do, and I'm going to talk about shooting in all four corners of a room, is because that way it evenly lights the scene. I'll show you how to blend those in super easily once we get all these layers into Photoshop. But notice this ceiling fan shadow. That would be an issue if this is the only flash pop we did. The next flash pop, I'm over here on this side. The next one, I'm over here on the left side. And then I go to the back of the room and shoot the right far corner. And then I go over to this side and shoot this far corner. And I'm just, so let's just reset. Let me copy these real quick so you can see. But let me reset the settings. This is what it looked like straight out of camera. I was at a half power on the Godox V1. I know that for a fact because I just shot everything at half power. So you can actually bump your exposure up. Let's see what I did. Yeah, I bumped it up to a stop and a half. And I was also using a circular polarizer filter, which really will help for like glare on the TV. And, you know, if you had hardwood floors, it definitely helps cut out that. This is the one I was using. I love it. It works amazing. And the price is actually pretty decent, depending on the size, obviously. You know, if we had to go, you know, $47, you know, bumping it up a little bit for 82 millimeter, that's the biggest. But the lens I'm using, I believe it was like 52 millimeters. I can't remember, but yep, the Hoya NXT. I'll leave links below for that. But so that's the other thing. And we're just going to bring all these layers into Photoshop, and I'll show you how simple it is to blend all these together. All right, so this process, once you get them all loaded into Photoshop, this process basically is just a repeat process on how you are going to shoot every room, basically. So you want to do your ambient layer, a flash pop above the camera, and then your four corners, however many it is. Make sure if you're doing left to right closest to the camera, and then left to right away from the camera, because you want to be able to blend yourself out. So first layer, we're going to toggle off the ambient layer, and we're going to toggle off the flash pop above the camera layer first. And then we're going to work with these two layers first. We're just going to create one layer out of both of these. So we're going to highlight the top one, create a layer mask, Command I to invert, and we're going to take our gradient tool, make sure white is selected, and then just start clicking and dragging until we are out of the scene. There it is. Toggle that on and off. We are completely out. Now I'm going to highlight both of these. I'm holding down Command and I click the bottom one. We're going to right click, come up here to merge layers. Now that groups this one into one. Just toggle that off. And now let's work on these two. We're going to do a layer mask, Command I to invert that again. And do the same thing, doing a gradient tool to blend ourselves out of there. I like that. Again, actually now you don't even have to toggle these. You toggle this one back on, hover over it, and change it to lighten mode. So now if we toggle that on and off, you can see that that's lighting the foreground now. I like that. You know, and if it seems like it's too bright, work with the opacity. Play around with that. And then let's turn on this one. Again, changing the flash pop above the camera to lighten mode as well. And let's toggle that on and off. How does that look? That actually eliminates a lot of the shadows. But we can drop that opacity a little bit like that. And now for our ambient layer. Now that we have a nicely evenly lit flash layer, we can turn the ambient layer back on and change it to luminosity mode. And of course we can do, we can drop that opacity if we want to see how that blends in. And then if you want to blend in more flash power, just simply take create a layer mask, leave it white, but make sure black is selected, hit your brush tool. I like my flow at 5%. And then since we know we have a nice even flash layer underneath, just start brushing back in. And you could have added another window pull separately from this to get even cleaner window views, but I'm not concerned about it. There it is. Let's flatten this image and then Command S to save it. And we're going to bring it back into Lightroom. And I'm just going to come over here to my interior final bump right there. Watch your exposure. Sometimes it pushes it too much. And again, these presets over here, like my interior final bump, is just something that I've created. And all you got to do is make adjustments and then come up here and hit the plus sign, create preset. Name it anything you want, and then it'll show up over here. So it's nothing fancy. You don't really have to buy presets, but do your final tweak. Sometimes I like to bring that contrast down, but then adjust my blacks. Really awesome way to adjust your blacks is hold down Option, and you can see where your blacks are clipping and let off. But there you go, guys. There is the final image. Leave me a comment below if you have a better method or if you have any questions regarding the way I shoot this. And hit that subscribe button. Tutorials are coming out all the time. Thanks for watching.